I know it's hard sometimes. So I'm Deb Goodkin, and I'm the Executive Director of the FreeBSD Foundation. And I think most of you all here know who I am, know who the foundation is and what we do. But if you don't, we are a nonprofit organization, and our sole purpose is to support the FreeBSD project and community. You can find out more information about us on our website, and we'll also be here all week long. And so please feel free to come up and ask us questions and talk to us about your use of FreeBSD. So in my presentation today, I want to talk a little bit about the feedback that we received from the recent community survey. I hope all of you filled that out, because that's how we get a lot of our input on what we want to do. And so a key theme, or actually, let me continue here. There we go. We value your input, and we do hear you. And a key theme that we heard was the community doesn't have clarity on what we do, how we make decisions, where we spend our money, and what we do in general. So please be patient, because this thing is trying to think as I go along. There we go. Okay. So we want to become more transparent. And so what I want to do today is provide some insights into some of the key projects and key work that we're doing. And that really involves software development and marketing.
Did they just say marketing? Hello folks, I'm sad I couldn't be here for my first BSD Can, but needs must, and I'm on holiday in the south of France. Tough times, I'm sure you'll admit. Now, I'm also sure that I just saw somebody yawn at the word marketing. Yes, you there, I see you. Well, I'm here to tell you that word doesn't mean what you think it does. In fact, every single one of you here is a marketer. Because at some point or other in your life, you have tried to convince somebody else of something that you believe in. It may be as simple as convincing your other half what to have for dinner, or a group of friends to visit a bar you like. That is all marketing, because every time you hear that word, I'd like you to do a said in your head. That's what marketing is. It's storytelling. Stood up on stage today and talked about a topic you care about? Marketing. You did the said in your head, didn't you? And that's what I've joined the foundation as. The title may say Technical Marketing Manager, but do the said, and the title tells the story accurately. And that's our marketing strategy for this year. Tell stories about the product that we all love. If you have any great FreeBSD stories you'd like to tell, drop me a line at mark@freebsdfoundation.org and let's have a chat. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Bye for now.
Thank you, Mark. So I'm going to follow along his philosophy and thoughts and tell you a story. So I want to talk about how we came up with one of our projects that we're working on, and it's improving the FreeBSD support on modern laptops. So what was the problem? And as all of us know here, it can be challenging and frustrating and difficult to get FreeBSD to work on our laptops. Now, I'm going to guess many of us here are running FreeBSD on our laptops. But it wasn't always easy. And I know just even recently, I experienced this installing FreeBSD on my laptop. So how do we know this? We hear this. We hear this over social media, all the different platforms. We hear comments. We read blog posts. And we hear from commercial users, too. They want their developers to be able to develop their products on FreeBSD, especially if they're creating products based on FreeBSD. We pay attention to the FreeBSD communication platforms, so the forums, the mailing lists. And like I said, we at the foundation have experienced it too. We have co-op students and interns who get started, and we send them off to install FreeBSD on their laptops, and they run into challenges. So is this a project that we should take on? Should we help improve FreeBSD on the laptop? And so we spent time assessing this and determining, what's the value, and we did determine that this would be impactful to the community. It would help students and developers and new users get started with FreeBSD and be able to develop that on FreeBSD, that it would be more accessible and it would be useful. And we could help reduce the friction and the frustrations of getting started with FreeBSD. And it would really help increase the number of contributors and committers to the project. So we started funding some of the work. We have limited funding at the foundation. And so we did start funding some work, especially in the key areas. I mean, what do you complain about when you want to run FreeBSD on your laptop? What's the number one thing that people complain about? Wireless. Yep. So that is what we started funding. And so we started small, and we started with what we could do. And then a few years ago, the board met, and we met in person. We look at long-term strategic goals, things that we think we should work on to help FreeBSD. And so the board did set a goal of let's increase adoption of FreeBSD. Now that's a lot. I mean, what does it even mean? And so we did define that into a couple of categories. And one was to really help make FreeBSD easier to use for a college student as a daily driver. So we set that as our goal. We scoped out the project. Ed came to me with a budget. It was over $1 million. It was something we could not afford to do this, but we knew it was really important to the project. So we allocated a little bit more funding, and we brought on a user-led developer, and we started funding more efforts, and we put more resources into it. Then about, I think it was like 11 months ago, and someone contacted the foundation, and they said they love FreeBSD. And it was a really short email. They love FreeBSD. They had been using FreeBSD for over 25 years. And they wanted to offer some funding to help fix some limitations that they were running into in FreeBSD. And that was the final piece of the puzzle that we needed to go forward with this project. And so a lot of things are, so most of you are familiar with the project. You may not be. Actually, we'll go into a lot more detail tomorrow when Ed, Alice, and Joe talk about more of our software development work that we're doing. But anyway, there's a lot of things like behind the scenes that go on. Sometimes we try to write about it, but we're so busy behind the scenes, we have to put a project plan together. We need someone who will actually manage this project and help execute it. We need to bring on resources to fill the needs. We need software developers who have the right skills, who are available, and will come in knowing that we can't pay market rates for their contractor fees. And so all that has to come together. And so really when we decide on projects that we're going to fund, we look at a few requirements. And so we look at, is it going to be impactful and beneficial to FreeBSD? Is it going to be accessible and useful to users? And does it need the infrastructure for those types of capabilities for a larger type of project? And then finally, it's the funding. We need the funding in order to take this on. So I do know there are people who submit project proposals, and actually Joe and Ed and Alice will talk tomorrow about what the process is for doing this. But there's also projects that some get approved, some don't. And it's not because we don't want to fund you or we're not interested. And we do recognize, too, that you put a lot of time into these project proposals. But we do have to make sure that it fits into these requirements because the funding is limited. And we do need to make sure that it's going to be impactful to this project. So I want to share a little bit about our budget for this year. And basically, so I don't know if the colors are showing right, because the one on the right is our software development budget. And so right now, over 62% of our budget is allocated to true software development. So everything from that over, that's in the blue, the colors are sort of displaying a little differently, is directed, or it's funding for the project. And so you include advocacy and education, what Mark talked about, storytelling, that 70% of our budget goes to that. Infrastructure support, so that includes, we just spent over $100,000 to buy new servers for our infrastructure and to support the cluster admin team. We also have one key team member who works directly with cluster admin to help with the communications and help looking at getting quotes too for the requests that we're receiving. And we also have a few team members also who are on cluster admin. And then we have, and general support up there are other things like legal support for the project. And then fundraising and admin is our overhead, and that's less than 15%. So this year our budget is it's 3.1 million. And so you can see that about 2 million is allocated for direct software development. Now that wedge on the side, on the right side, that's big, and we want to provide more details on this, but Ed's going to take that on tomorrow when he talks about the projects that we're funding. So I want to show who we are, so you know. A lot of us are here. This isn't the full team. I have 2 slides. But I want to show that we're here working alongside you. And we contribute in different ways, some in documentation, some in software development, some in administration. I was still working directly with you, say, on travel grants. So we have, I think, 7 or 8 travel grant recipients who are attending this conference. We also have more people here who are on our team. These are mostly full-time people or people who work part-time, but for the long term, for us providing technical content. And like I said, software development. We're having a new person join after BSD can, who's going to help fill the need for social media and some of our marketing needs. This is our board of directors, and I'm pleased to announce that John Baldwin is our new board director. So we're a small and mighty team. We are thrilled to have him part of our team. Finally, I want to show, I did steal this slide from tomorrow's talk, so I'm sort of stealing their thunder, but I really wanted to show all the people who are involved in our software development work, and just show that we have a lot of people who, yeah, they're contracting under us, but they're contributing to the long-term viability and security and stability of FreeBSD. So one more thing, a few more things I would like to share. Well, actually, this is the last thing. So Mark, who gave us a little spiel about storytelling a little earlier, he created some content to help get people started easily with FreeBSD. And so these are 3 videos, and you'll have access to these links. They're also on the FreeBSD YouTube channel. And the intention is they're short videos, and it's how to install FreeBSD on various platforms quickly and easily. And in creating the content, which I followed for setting up one of my systems or my laptop, and he made sure that if he ran into any issues, that he helped get them resolved. And so he's also contributing to DocEng and getting more involved in the project, which has been really great to see, and also working closely with some of the members of the core team. So it's been really exciting to see the work that he's doing, and also I'll give a shout out to Benedict, who's he used to be on our board many years ago, contributes in so many different ways and has been helping us now create technical content too that's going to be really helpful for the project. So that's all I got here. And I don't know if I have time for questions. That's my 15 minutes. Actually. And so anyway, yeah, feel free to email me. You can email us at info@FreeBSDFoundation.org. You can email me directly. And like I said, we value your input, and we do hear you. We'll be here all week, and so please just stop us, tap us on the shoulder if you have something to say. And we'll also have a table that you can reach us at. And that's it. Thank you.